Reading Srimad Bhagavatam 4:28-30. Tasham sajanayam chakra atmajam asitekshanam yaviyasha saptasutan sapta dravida bhubrataha. Tashyam, through her, Saha, the king, Janayam Chakre, Janayam Chakre, begot, Atmajam, daughter, Asita, blue or black. Sometimes Krishna is also called Asita. Ikchanam, whose eyes, Yaviyashaha, younger, very powerful, Sapta, 7, Sutan, son, Sapta, 7, Dravida, province of Dravida, or South India, Bhu, of the land, Brataha, kings. Translation. King Malayadwaja fathered one daughter who had black eyes. He also had 7 sons who later became rulers of the tract of land known as Dravida. Thus there were 7 kings in that land. Please respond. King Malayadwaja fathered one daughter who had very black eyes. He also had 7 sons who later became rulers of the tract of land known as Dravida. Thus there were 7 kings in that land. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. King Malayadwaja was a very great devotee, and after he married the daughter of King Vidarbha, he gave her one nice daughter whose eyes were black. Figuratively, this means that the daughter of King Malayadwaja was also bestowed with devotional service, for eyes were always fixed on Krishna. So those who have black eyes, quite fortunate. Okay? Most Asians have black eyes, but they are not fixing on Krishna. That's the problem. A devotee who has no vision in his life other than Krishna. The 7 sons are the 7 process of devotional service. Hearing, chanting, remembering, offering worship, offering prayers, rendering transcendental love service, and serving the lotus feet of Lord. Of the 9 types of devotional service, only 7 were immediately given. The balance, friendship and surrendering everything were to be developed later. In other words, devotional service is divided into 2 categories, namely Vidhi Marga and Raga Marga. The process of becoming friends with the Lord and sacrificing everything for Him belongs to the category of Raga Marga. The stage of developed devotional service for the neophyte, the important process of those of hearing and chanting, Shravanam Kirtanam, remembering Krishna, worshipping the deity in the temple, offering prayers, and always engaging in the service of the Lord, and worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord. Jai Sri Radha. The word Yavi Yashaha indicates that this process is very powerful. After a devotee engages in the process of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Achanam, Vandanam, Dashyam, 7.5.23, and is able to secure this process, he can later become a devotee capable of rendering spontaneous devotional service, namely Sakyam and Atma Nivedanam. Generally, the great acharyas who preach devotional service all over the world belong to the category of Sakyam and Atma Nivedanam. A neophyte devotee cannot actually become a preacher. Right? The neophyte is advised to execute devotional service in the 7 other fields, Shravanam, Kirtanam, etc. If one can successfully execute the preliminary 7 items, he can in the future be situated on the platform of Sakyam and Atma Nivedanam. The specific mention of Dravida Deys refers to the 5 Dravida Deys in South India. All are very strong in rendering preliminary devotional process. Shravanam, Kirtanam, 7.5.23. Some great acharyas like Ramanuja Acharya and Madhvacharya also came from Dravida Deys and became great preachers. They all were situated on the platform of Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jananam Jana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Satpitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamam Dadati Swaparandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udabadagamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Jagajatam Jagana Raghunathamritam Tam Chajivu Shadvidam Javadutam Parijanam Sitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishagan Vidam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchna Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shavanu Shuta Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namarom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Samiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you very much for joining in our Srimad Bhagavatam Saturday 4/28/30. So you can see here Malaya Dwaja. Yesterday we heard that he is a Mahabhagavata. Yes, you read yesterday Mahabhagavata, correct? So to recap, refresh your mind for those who are not here. Since King Malaya Dwaja was both a powerful king and a great devotee, he fulfilled all the requirements. The name Malaya Dwaja signifies a great devotee who stands as firm as Malaya Hill and Malaysia. Okay. Through his propaganda makes other devotees similarly as firm. So, Mahabhagavata association makes other devotees what? Fixed up. Second thing, such a Mahabhagavata can prevail over the opinions of all others. Again, he overrides everybody's opinion. A strong devotee makes propaganda against all other spiritual conception, namely Jnana, Karma and Yoga. In other words, his preaching defeats what? Jnana, Karma and Yoga. You don't understand? That means he preached what? Bhakti. Bhaktya mam abhijanante yavan yashmin tattvata. Understand? And not only that, with his devotional flag unfurled, he always stands fast to conquer other conception of transcendental realization. That means nobody can defeat him. And whenever there is an argument between a devotee and a non-devotee, the pure, strong devotee comes out victorious. Classic example of Prabhupada. Nobody can defeat in argument. So these are the symptoms of a Mahabhagavata. And he makes but many devotees. A Mahabhagavata can make many devotees. So Malaya Dwaja was a Mahabhagavata. So Puranjan became a woman and he fell down. But some piety, he got connected to a pure devotee. Just like all of us here, because of some purity, we are all now connected to. Yes, we are connected to who? Prabhupada. See, Malaya Dwaja was a pure devotee, and what's the name? Puranjan, he became Vidarbhi, and she got connected to him, and later on you will find out by the association of this great king Mahabhagavata, he went back to Godhead, she also went back with him. Understand? Similarly, now you are connected to Prabhupada. Connected doesn't mean that just because you are just took initiation and you are connected, finish, your job over. The initiation means what? Initiation means what? It means what? Initiation means beginning. And finish. As they say in Malay, pangkat. You get what? Some title. You get some title and finish. Oh, I initiated already, Prabhu. Hey, don't tell me what to do. I'm initiated. No? When you join? When you join? Understand? These are all symptoms of a neophyte devotee. You follow? So initiation means you start now washing toilet and washing floor. That means initiation. Understand? Beginning. You follow? Not that you take initiation, now I cannot, I won't do anything. You don't tell me what to do now. I will do what I want to do. That's not initiation. That means you have to go wash some more toilets. Understand? Understand? This is the meaning. So here explain, these 7 sons are explaining that they are what? The process of devotional service. Daughter is, eyes is black, she is fully Krishna conscious, seeing Krishna. If you see Krishna all the time, what's your position? I mean, she's pure devotee. But also 7 sons, here Prabhupada is explaining that they are the 7 process, of course there are 9 process of devotional service, right? You know what is the 9 process of devotional service? The new one don't say, the older devotee. What is the process of Mukunda? Shravanam Kirtanam Shravanam Kirtana only, that's it too. Huh? That's enough. What is it? Shravanam Kirtanam? Part? Where is it going? Where is this thing going? Oh, come on, not going. I think right here. Prahlad Vacha. See? What is that? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Achanam, Vandanam, Dashyam. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This Sakyam and Atma Nivedanam is also part of the 9 process of devotional service. But here, this 7 is described as regulated devotional service. See, in devotional service, in this verse, here, I think you know, Adav Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha Ta Bhajana Kriya Tato Narta Nivritti Syat Tato Nishta Ruchis Tata Tata Shaktis Tato Bhaves Tata Prema Abhyudanchati Sadhakanamayam Premna Pradhubhave Bhavet Kramaha. So here, this is the process of devotional service. It explains from here, beginning is what? Hearing to get what? Faith. First is faith, correct? And then what? Association with devotee, right? And then initiation, and then you do regulated devotional service, bhajana kriya. You understand? So this bhajana kriya means regulated devotional service, and it brings you all the way anartamiti syat tato nisti. So it stops at nisti. Regulated devotional service stops at nishta. Understand? Because taste is not so much until you get spontaneous devotional service. But when you come to Ashakta, then regulated devotional service starts. You follow? So here you can see in this verse, when one becomes attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to one's natural inclination to love Him and is fully absorbed in thoughts of the Lord, that stage is called transcendental attachment, and devotional service according to that attachment is called Raga Mika or spontaneous devotional service. See, in other words, this verse is from the Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu. So the moment you develop an attachment for Krishna, then only spontaneous devotional service starts. I understand? Are you following? Huh? So, rules and regulation is the beginning. That's why it is called bhajana kriya. Follow. So, when you develop attachment for Krishna, then it is a very high platform. That's also explained here. In this verse, by chanting the holy name of the Supreme Lord, one comes to the stage of love of Godhead. Then the devotee is fixed in his vow as an eternal servant of the Lord and gradually become very much attached to a particular name and form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As his heart melts with ecstatic love, he laughs very loudly or cries or shouts. Sometimes he sings and dances like a madman, for he is indifferent to public opinion. So this is the platform where he gets Raganuga Bhakti. You understand? Are you following? So in other words, in the Adav, Shraddha and all that, so what stage you develop love for Krishna? It's when you get attachment. Of course, when you start crying and all that, bhava means the crying all will start, That's the, I don't want to speak about it because I'm not there yet. If I am, then yes, maybe you are. I don't know. So now we are more concerned about hearing about the 7 process of devotional service, which is it concerns us. Okay? So this is described here. In this point here, there are 2 processes of practical devotional service. One is regulated devotional service and the other is spontaneous devotional service. So devotional service is broken into 2 categories. One is following rules and regulation called Vaidhi Bhakti, and the other one is maybe they will follow, maybe they will not follow, because they already developed love for. You understand? So 2 different. Now we shall describe this. Those who have not attained the platform of spontaneous attachment in devotional service render devotional service under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master according to the regulative principle mentioned in the revealed scriptures. According to the revealed scripture, this kind of devotional service is called Vaidhi Bhakti. In other words, to perform Vaidhi Bhakti, you first of all need one very important thing. What is that? Spiritual master. If you don't have spiritual master, you cannot practice any bhakti. Forget it. Understand? Then you remain in the platform of being a what? A Hindu. Hindutva. You understand? You cannot cross the line. It's not possible. Correct? And then yes, yatamma tatam pod. Anything you want to do, everything you want to do, yeah. You want to worship Ali Baba, Sai Baba, this Baba, everything can go. That is called something else. But if you want to practice bhakti, then this is the starting point. You must have. So we will come to that. This is a very long subject. I think we can finish. I got purport also. I have to read this purport, very important. In the beginning, one has to hear from a bona fide spiritual master. This is favorable for advancing in devotional service. According to this process, one hears, chants, remembers and engages in deity worship, acting under the direction of the spiritual master. Not independent, acting under the direction. These are the essential primary activities of devotional service. Devotional service must not be executed for some material purpose. One should not even have a desire to merge into the absolute truth. One has to render such service out of love only. Ahaituki pratyahata, no salary. Devotional service without what? Devotional service must be without ulterior motives. Then material conditions cannot check it. Gradually one can rise to the platform of spontaneous loving service. A child is sent to school by force to receive an education. But when he gets a little taste of education at advanced age, he automatically participates and becomes a learned scholar. One cannot force a person to become a scholar, but sometimes force is used in the beginning. A child is forced to go to school and read and write according to the instruction of the teachers. Such is the difference between Vaidhi Bhakti and spontaneous Bhakti. Dormant love for Krishna exists in everyone's heart, and it simply has to be awakened by the regulative process of devotional service. One has to learn to use a typewriter by following the regulative principles of typing book. One has to place his finger on the keys in such a way and practice, but when one becomes adept, he can type swiftly and correctly without even looking at the keys. Similarly, one has to follow the rules and regulations of devotional service as they are set down by the spiritual master. Then one can come to the point of spontaneous loving service. This love is already there within the heart of everyone. Nityasiddha Krishna Prema. Spontaneous service is not artificial. One simply has to come to the platform by rendering devotional service according to the regulative principle. Thus one has to practice hearing and chanting and follow the regulative principle by washing the temple, cleaning oneself, rising early in the morning, attending Mangala Arati, and so on. This word always comes around. It's a problem word, this. Yeah? Yes? It looks like a very inauspicious word, Amangala Arati. If one does not come to the platform of spontaneous service in the beginning, he must adopt regulative service according to the instruction of the spiritual master. This regulative service is called Vaidhi Bhakti. So you understand now clearly? Is it clear? Now we are going to read about what is this Vaidhi Bhakti. O descendant of Bharata, O Maharaj Parikshit, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in everyone's heart as Paramatma, who is the Supreme Controller and always removes the miseries of the living entities, must always be heard about from reliable sources and must be glorified and remembered by one who wishes to become fearless. This is from 215, Srimad Bhagavatam 215. I am not going to the purport. I would want you to take note and read the purport when you have the time. From the mouth of Brahma, the Brahminical order has come into existence. Similarly, from his arms the Kshatriyas have come, and from his waist the Vaishyas have come, and from his leg the Sudras have come. These four orders and their spiritual counterpart, Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyas, combine to make human society complete. This is again from 11 to 11.523. You can also read that. This is a verse we always quote. If one simply maintains an official position in the four Varna and Ashram but does not worship the Supreme Lord Vishnu, he falls down from his puffed up position into a hellish condition. I think I gave a class on this point, right? Why demigod worshippers go to the darkest region of? I gave a class. I think is that in your thing recorded? You can forward it to them. Because in the Ishopanishad there is the verse, no? Mantra 12. Andam Tamishra Vishanti. Those who worship the demigods, they go to the darkest region of heaven. And in the Bhagavad Gita, it says in 14:18, those who worship demigod, they go up. So one place is saying going up, one place is saying going down. What is the difference? That point I have explained at length in that video. You can you know, she, it's Zoom. It's a Zoom? Yeah? Zoom. Was it in your class, Friday? Last Friday? Last Friday class, you attended? Yeah. So I was talking on this point because they're confusing, you know, why you're going, you know, what is this, no? Correct? So this is the reason, this is one of the reasons. If any of the devotees, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, Brahmachari, anybody, if they fail to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they will go down to a hellish condition of life. You understand this point? Of course, it is very interesting. Now here, this is another verse. Lord Vishnu, Krishna is the origin of Vishnu, or should always be remembered and never forgotten at any time. All the rules and provision mentioned in the Shastra should be subservient to those two principles. Always to remember Krishna. Another condition is that means you have no choice. That means you are, you always have to remember Krishna and you cannot forget him. That means what? Correct? Jai Sri Radha. So, this is from Padma Puranam, alright? So, I recommend you to read the purport. It's very important, all these purports, you know. I'm going through quickly because I have to cover this whole subject. I shall say something about the various practice of devotional service which is expanded in so many ways. I wish to speak briefly of the essential practices. Alright, this is the beginning. One must, on the path of regulated devotional service, one must observe the following item. The first one must accept a bona fide spiritual master. Again, repeated. Yes? Second, one must accept initiation from him. This is a very important point. There's some group of people are saying reading Prabhupada book is initiation. You read Prabhupada book means that's it, initiation. No need to take initiation. Why then Prabhupada started the Ritvik system initiation? Very, what? What is the word? Contradictory, is it not? If he say, read my books is initiation, if he did say, he didn't say, someone is saying, right? Understand? Then why he said you must have Ritvik initiation?
But sometimes Prabhupada said even the touch the book is initiated.
Yeah, you get, Prabhupada never say start the book get initiated. He said you touching book also you will get the benefit. You know, I don't remember he said touch my book you get initiated.
There is some story.
Yes, I don't know story, I'll be sure. So many stories are circulating. But here, anyway, story is one thing. Here it says that you must get, correct? And one must, number 3, one must what? After initiation what? That's it, bye bye Prabhu. I got initiated ready, you know. Huh? What is that? You have to serve him. Serve him means what? According to whose terms? I cannot go into the kitchen. Huh? I will not go into the kitchen. I will not do this. I will not do this. I will not. What? Is it whose condition? Whose condition? My? What? This is nonsense. Serving means according to the instruction given by who? Authorities who are working under the direction of Prabhupada. You understand? You say do this, you do this. You do that, you do that. You no question. Because when you surrender to spiritual master, you cannot question, Prabhupada said. Questioning must be done before you surrender. After surrendering, there is no question. I think I showed that verse, right? Huh? I'll go to that and then come back to this. There should be no instant in which the disciple or the son said, this is not correct, I cannot carry it out. See that? This is not correct, I cannot carry it out. When he says that, he is following. See this point? This is the meaning of service to the spiritual master. So you want to take initiation, you better what? Know what you're getting into. After initiation you cannot question already. It's not possible. You understand? If you reject, that means you are offending already. Yes? Understand? Huh? I have to go back on this. There's no go back button here. F5. Good. So one must learn how to serve him, and one must receive instruction from the spiritual master and make inquiries in order to learn devotional service. This is another interesting thing. Not that you come and you take initiation and you keep serving and serving, but you don't learn anything. You don't read the books, you don't question, you don't ask, nothing. You have to what? Go to the spiritual master and what? Learn.
Just now they said that you cannot ask question, now you must ask question.
Ask question how to do devotional service to improve, not to challenge. Yesterday only I cooked, no? Why today I have to cook again? Oh, that means you are not surrendering. You understand? Surrendering means what? When you order to do without question. Understand? When I was young in the school, I learned this poem, Alfred Lord Tennyson. In this poem, I remember this. A soldier's duty is not to reason why, but to do and die. I remember those words. And that's exactly the duty of the disciple. No question. Of course, not be blind. He asks you to jump the wall or something. Surrender with intelligence. No spiritual master will lead you to the... You understand? Unless you go to the unbona fide one, then I'm sorry, the stage. So one must learn to inquire in order to learn devotional service. You understand? Inquire, Prabhu, how do I don't understand it. Why? You understand? Question. You follow? One must follow in the footsteps of the previous acharyas and follow the direction given by the spiritual master. Prabhupada is not my guru, no. I don't need to fast. Prabhupada is not my guru. Today is Vyasa Puja, everybody is fasting. So why you not fasting? Prabhupada is not my guru, no. You see here? Understand? This all are happening. Don't laugh. This all are happening. One must follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas and follow the direction given by the spiritual master. In other words, the spiritual master cannot contradict the previous. These are important instruction. You follow? Then, the next steps are as follow. One must be prepared to give up everything for Krishna's satisfaction. And one should also accept everything for Krishna's satisfaction. Two things. Must give up everything for Krishna's satisfaction. And must do everything for Krishna's satisfaction. Not for my, then is finished. I like, No, there is no such thing as I like. Cannot. If you use the word I like, the way I like to do, then it is not devotion. You follow? One must live in a place where Krishna is present, a city like Vrindavan or Mathura or a Krishna temple. One should acquire a livelihood that is sufficient to keep body and soul together. That's another thing. One must learn how to make money only for subsistence, not over endeavoring. Huh? But why you not here, Prabhu? I work, Prabhu, very important. Huh? This? Work should be subservient to service. Not that service is subservient to your. Doesn't work like that. One must fast on Ekadasi day. Because I'm sure you are doing that, right? You're doing? Not doing. Oh, you're doing. Very good. One should worship, I don't know what is it, Datri trees. What is this Datri? Banyan trees, cows, brahmanas and devotees of Lord Vishnu. So these are all auspicious things one should do. One should avoid offences against devotional service and the holy name. So we must learn how to not offend, 10 offences, right? And of course the other offences. This is very important. The 12th item is to give up the company of non-devotees. One should not accept an unlimited number of disciples. One should not partially study many scriptures just to be able to give reference and expand explanation. This is very popular now. Please read the purport. Prabhupada is explaining very nicely. Okay, this part here. One should not partially study a book just to pose oneself as a great scholar by being able to refer to scriptures. I guess referring to me. In our Krishna conscious movement, we have therefore limited our study of the Vedic literature to the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. These 4 works are sufficient for preaching purpose. They are adequate for understanding of the philosophy and spreading of the missionary activities all over the world. If one studies a particular book, he must do so thoroughly. That is the principle. By thoroughly studying a limited number of books, one can understand the philosophy. You understand? So very common now. They say, oh, I've got this new book, I got that new book, So many new books, but it's an old book. What to do this old book? Oh, I read already. Prabhupada says you must study thoroughly. Thoroughly means what? Not one time. How many times? How many times? As long as you stay alive, reading. Understand? As long as you stay alive, reading. Right? You cannot say, I read already, finish. At that time I asked, how many times you read the Bible? Oh, one time, Prabhu. How many times you eat in a day? How many times you eat in a day? One time only, Prabhu. You forget eating? You forget eating? You forget eating? But you forget reading. Understand? It should not be the I should read. In fact, make a vow. If I don't read one page, I should not eat. There should be discipline until I read and not sleep. You follow? We should become very fixed in that. The devotee should treat loss and gain equally. The devotee should not be overwhelmed by lamentation. The devotee should not worship demigods, nor should he disrespect them. Similarly, the devotee should not study or criticize other scriptures. To that point? You not worship? Prabhu, I am worshipping Lord Shiva, to get more devotion, Prabhu. What? No? No means what? No means no. You follow?
You mentioned what are the other scriptures we should not criticize?
We should not what?
Which we should not criticize. What are the other scriptures?
We should not study or criticize other scriptures. Huh? Yeah?
But like Jiva Goswami, he analyzed and Bhaktivinoda Thakur also.
You study that one. What they analyze, you study. You don't try to study on your own. That is not required. Don't be too smart. There's Ansuduta was quoting from Bible. Prabhu said, why are you quoting from the Bible? Why don't you quote from the Bhagavad Gita? Why you have to study that? Because it is not substantial. What is the word? It's not very conclusive. So when you go into argument with that, with their books, they can defeat you because somewhere else they bring something else. Then where your base? That's why Prabhupada said, you study our books and you speak from our books. But you don't criticize. We are not criticizing. We explain. Like for example, in the Bible they say there is no reincarnation. They say thou shalt not kill. So we explain. Like Prabhupada explained. Yes. So we should be able to follow. That's why we must follow the spiritual master. How he preaches, we preach. Understand? Very sensitive, especially when you talk about other people's scripture. They can get very offended. So we must be very careful in presenting it in such a way that they don't feel offended. It's better not to touch on it. Better to speak our scriptures. Safer. Anyway, our book never read, you want to read other book. What? The devotee should not hear Lord Vishnu or devotees blasphemed. Right?
It is overrated.
Is it? I like one number? No.
It is overrated in Islam. They are not blasphemy.
They are right, it's not blaspheme. But to point out the fault of someone who is not following the scriptures, the spiritual master and the sadhu, that is not a fault. Suppose you are saying you are a Vaishnava when you do all Vaishnavic activities, and I say, hey, you say you are Vaishnava, you are drinking tea, coffee, onion, garlic, how is it possible? Is that a fault? That's another bhakti. Onion bhakti. Nonsense. So we must point out, explain, correct? That's our duty. You follow? If I also close one eyes and let you do what you like, then that is my offense. You follow? So you must know what is criticizing and blaspheming and what is correcting. Two different words, correcting and blaspheming. Blaspheming means you speak bad of someone out of envy. Usually it is out envy. You don't like the person. And then you just say all kind of rubbish about him. Truth or not truth? You follow? I got so much on the net. Just type Sundar Gopal. Wow. So many things come out. I don't know most of the thing I am doing or not. I go to the toilet, that's an offense. I wear a garland, that's an offense. I sit on the Vyasasana, that's an offense. I eat one time, that's an offense. Everything I do is an offense. So how is it possible? This is out of envy. Understand? The devotee should avoid reading or hearing newspapers or mundane books that contain stories of love affairs between man and woman or subject palatable to the senses. Bollywood. Bollywood? Huh? Bollywood is famous for this, correct? Not only Bollywood, Hollywood, any wood. Yeah? Correct? So we should be very careful, especially now it is over YouTube. Wow, so dangerous. Yes? Facebook, YouTube, wow, you just, wow, all kind of things are coming. Yes? How much you have to control your senses in Kali Yuga? See? More than in Satya Yuga, I think. Neither by mind or words should the devotee cause anxiety to any living entity, regardless how insignificant it may be. So we should be careful not to offend any living entity. So now, after one is established in devotional service, the positive actions are hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, praying, serving, accepting servitorship, becoming a friend, and fully surrender. This is the 9th process. One should also dance before the deity, sing before the deity, open one mind to the deity, offer obeisance to the deity, stand up before the deity and the spiritual master just to show them respect, follow the deity or the spiritual master, visit different places of pilgrimage, go see the deity in the temple. See? And when we say, why don't you come to the temple? No, I have temple in the house. Huh? The same thing, no? What is I also have? Is it the same? Huh? What? Same Krishna, no? Except that in my place, I want to eat anything, I will decide and then give to Krishna. You understand? Today I like mee goreng. Understand? This is the house. You understand? Whereas the temple is different. You follow? So understand. Have to go to the temple. In fact, there is a rule. Morning and evening you must go to the temple. There is a rule. But of course now it's a little difficult. At least you must understand the importance of going to the.
But it's like a temple also overcooked, if the person will decide, right? What is the difference?
What is that?
In the temple also, the person overcooks, he will decide, right?
Yeah, because he is working under authority. He decides under authority. It's different. Because spiritual master is in the temple. Because spiritual master is in the house. But here, under direction, we must offer so many things, we must offer this, we must offer that. There are already rules. Understand? Of course, you can adjust to that rule, but the rule is there. There are so many items must do every day. So many. In the house, there is no different. Understand? Different. One should circumambulate the temple. Of course, most temple in India you can go around. Here you have to go around the building. Okay? You go your japa walk. Recite various prayers, not only Hare Krishna, you have to learn other. You got what? So many prayers, so many slokas. Yes? And chant softly. Chant, japa means softly. And chant congregationally, kirtan. Right? Smell the incense and flower garland offered to the deity. Smell. And eat the remnants of food offered to the deity. That means taking only Krishna prasadam. One should one should attend arati and festival, see the deity, present what is very dear to oneself to the deity. What is very dear to you, you give to Krishna. Yeah, you please donate your wife. Of course, make sure she come to work. Right? Maybe you don't like it, you just donate her.
Like rejected furniture.
Meditate on the deity and serve those things related to the Lord. Tadiya means tulsi leaves. The devotees of Krishna, the birthplace of Krishna, Mathura, and Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna is very eager to see his devotees serve these four things. Right? What are the four things? Krishna is very eager. Tulsi, Vaishnav, Mathura, and Bhagavatam. Four things. Very important, huh? One should perform all endeavors for Krishna. One should look forward to his mercy, and one should partake of various ceremonies with the devotees, ceremonies like Lord Krishna's birthday and Ramachandra's birthday. So one should always depend on Krishna's mercy. Understand, in all circumstances. Not that when things go bad, you forget Krishna. You cannot do that. One should surrender to Krishna in all respect. One should observe particular vows like Kartik Vrita. You never say here Purushottam Mas? Right? See? How devotees get misled? Right? These are some of the 64 items of devotional service. One should associate with devotees, chant the holy name of the Lord, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, recite in Mathura, and worship the deity with faith and veneration. These are the 5 things one should do every day, every day, every day.
Kartik Vrata. Say one should observe particular vows like Kartik Vrata. Kartik Adi Vrata. Kartik Adi. So, Purushottam Mas.
I have no objection, you can do whatever you want. But please do Kartik Vrata. Understand? That is the beginning. What? Kartik Vrata. Okay. This Purushottam month comes once in 4 years. No, I only do Purushottam months. Where the once in 4 years you do? This one every month. I'm sorry, every year. Correct? Understand? These 5 limbs of devotional service are the best of all. Even a slight performance of these 5 awakens love for Krishna. What is the 5 thing? Huh? Srimad Bhagavatam? How many times you want to stay in Mathura? What? The ladies are quiet. What else? Come on, what are the 5 things? Huh? What? Forgot. Alright, we'll go back again. One should associate with devotees. That's number 1. One should what?
Associate devotees.
Number 2. You must chant Hare Krishna. 3. Hear the Bhagavatam. 4. Or the temple nearby. And 5. Worship the deity. These are 5 things. If you do this, of course our morning program comprises of these 5 things. Our morning program is what? 5 things. Even a slight attraction for this awakens your love for Krishna. Of course, you see, my put tilak, my take charnamrita, all these things. You please read this purport. With love and full faith, one should worship the lotus feet of the deity. One should taste the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of pure devotees, and one should associate with devotees who are more advanced than oneself and who are endeavored with a similar type of affection for the Lord. Very important point. I have Prabhupada, I am associating with Prabhupada. Many say like that. Correct? But what is that association with Prabhupada? What is that association? You have to associate with people who are similar type of affection for the Lord or the spiritual master. Understand? So someone is advanced, you should associate with that person. Are you following? So in the purport, Prabhupada is saying, should not associate with non-devotees. One should congregationally chant the holy name of the Lord and reside in Vrindavan. The power of these 5 principles is very wonderful and difficult to understand. Even without faith in them, a person who is offenseless can awaken his dormant love of Krishna simply by being a little connected with them. When one is firmly fixed in devotional service, whether he executes one or many processes of devotional service, the waves of love of Godhead will awaken. There are many devotees who execute only one of the 9 processes of devotional service. Nonetheless, they get ultimate success. Devotees like Maharaj Ambarish execute all 9 items, they also get ultimate success. So whether you do 1 or you do 9, you get ultimate success. Especially in Kali Yuga, the best process, as it says, you can do this 9 processes of devotional service simply by chanting Hare Krishna. Maharaj Parikshit attained the highest perfection, shelter at Krishna's lotus feet simply by hearing about Lord Vishnu. Sukadev Goswami attained perfection simply by reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. Prahlad Maharaj attained perfection by remembering the Lord. The goddess of fortune attained perfection by massaging the transcendental legs of Mahavishnu. Prithu Maharaj attained perfection by worshipping the deity. Akrura attains perfection by offering prayers unto Lord. Vrijrangaji, Hanuman attained perfection by surrendering service to Lord Ramachandra. Arjuna attained perfection simply by being Krishna's friend. Bali Maharaj attained perfection by dedicating everything to the lotus feet of Krishna. Maharaj Ambarish always engaged his mind at the lotus feet of Krishna, his words in describing the spiritual world and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his hands in cleansing and washing the Lord's temple, his ears in hearing topics about the Supreme Lord, his eyes in seeing the deity of Lord Krishna in the temple, his body in embracing the Vaishnavas, touching the lotus feet, his nostril in smelling the aroma of the tulsi leaves offered to Krishna's lotus feet, his tongue in tasting food offered to Krishna, his legs in going to places of pilgrimage like Vrindavan and Mathura or to the Lord's temple, his head in touching the lotus feet of the Lord and offering him obeisances, and his desire in serving the Lord faithfully. In this way, Maharaj Ambarish engaged his senses in transcendental loving service to the Lord. As a result, he awakened his dormant loving propensity for the Lord's service. If a person gives up all material desires and completely engage in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, as enjoined in the will scripture, he is never indebted to the demigod, sages or forefathers. Of course, this is the famous verse. Devarishi Bhutapta Narnam. One who has given up all material duties and taken full shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, who gives shelter to all, is not indebted to the demigod, great sages, ordinary living, relative, friends, mankind, or even his forefathers who have passed away. But this is explaining, you please read this purport. Alright, so here, although pure devotee does not follow the regulated principle of varnashram, he worships the lotus feet of Krishna, and therefore he naturally has no tendency to commit sin. Alright, from now here onwards, it is about Raga Bhakti. I will not speak about it because no time. Secondly, I think you can read this chapter. So you go back, you go to this 22. The next verses are all about how Raganuga Bhakti is awakened. So, this is the other parts. So, I'll stop here then. Anybody got any questions? I think from 150 there's 150 onwards it's Raganuga Bhakti. My dear Sanatan, I have now in detail described devotional service according to regulated principle. Now hear from me about spontaneous devotional service and its characteristics. So my recommendation, you take this note, page chapter 22, 148 onwards, you can read about Raganuga Bhakti. I don't have the time, so you can go, you in your time, you take this chapter, you make note and read at your own time. Any questions or comments up to this? What is it?
When Jai Sri Radha Mataji, she appreciated some question regarding correcting others, even if we are right. That depends if we are in such a position to correct them, and if we offend them by doing that, or put them in anxiety and make them leave Krishna consciousness when they are not ready for such level of change or correction, then we can cause them harm. We have to be authorized to correct them, and even then we have to be careful. I understand from some of Srila Prabhupada's disciples that he did not correct each person the same way, that he was careful depending on the disciple. One time a devotee corrected me very heavily in front of the deities, which also happens to be an offense by the way, and said, don't put your back to Srila Prabhupada, and she was pointing to Prabhupada in the very back of the temple. I happened to be placing the deity on the altar in front of Srila Prabhupada on the altar. So in my mind, Prabhupada was in front of me. It really depends on one's consciousness, and one may not understand that if they are not knowing one's mind devotional service. Just saying, you have to be careful on this correcting matter. It can offend and is also an offense in many situations. Most of us are not so humble to accept such correction. Yes, we should be, but the reality is most are not. It's not like question, it's like direct statement.
One who is in authority, he has to correct. Otherwise, the one who is new will never learn. You understand? The duty. Authority is given to train others. If you don't want to accept the authority, then how to get trained up? Yes? Especially me, I am always pointing out, correct? Hey, why you do like this? Why you do like that? Correct? Isn't it? But if you take it in the wrong way, then there's no way we can help you. Understand? But then you say, why he is correcting me? Look at him. He is also doing all nonsense. Then finish. Cannot work already. But if you accept them positively, then you also make advancement. Correct? Correction should not be done out of passion. I don't like you, I always picking fault on you. That is different. But to gently tell you so that you know how to make more progress, that I don't think it's offensive. It's how you take it. You understand? If you take it like you don't want to take it, then you cannot work. You understand? So therefore you have to accept an authority. That's why if you want to give up false ego, the only way is to surrender to a spiritual master. And spiritual master means downline, not the only spiritual master. And downline, I don't care. Then, like now, just now they were chanting the verse, he started chanting. And he says, no Prabhu, the senior devotees. Because he is not aware. Why we have this system, the senior devotees must chant first? Respect. Correct? And tomorrow you become senior devotee and the juniors claim on your head, then how? Cannot work. So there is system to respect. As now we read, we must respect the Vaishnavas, correct? How to do that? You have to learn. So this is the procedures. Like he went and he put the thing on the other side of Prabhupada's hand. I am sitting there and I am observing. He want to cut short this side and just quickly. But I am seeing. I said, Prabhu, why do you do that? Oh, sorry, Prabhu. And he went and do it again. So if I don't correct, tomorrow he will put on the leg. Yes. Why you tell me to do this like this lady? Why you tell me I am doing the right? Then how to train up? Correct? Yes or not? So because here I see, I am seeing. If I keep quiet, then I am at fault. Yes or not? Inside there, I don't know what's going on. I am not seeing. Correct? So responsibility is of the other devotees. They do have. Prabhu, you cannot. Prabhu, this, that. Standard. You follow. So we should take this training in a positive way. But if you take in a challenging way, then cannot be trained already. Then you better go home. What for stay here? Because home you can do anything you like. What? Yeah? You can put the oil on the leg, on the head, on the tail. Anyway you can do what? Who cares? Yes? Understand? So there's a difference. If you want to be trained, yeah, then association of devotees. If you don't want to be trained, then no need association. They say in Malay language, Sindriyan Braha. Private limited. Anything you can do. Yeah? So we have to be careful. Because correcting, the man is in authority, he has to perform. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu principle, Apane Achar Bhakti Sikha. First you do, then you teach. If you don't teach when you don't do, that's bogus. Understand? That's why this other line we kept it, we didn't read. When you become pure devotee, then there's no possibility you will commit any offenses. Your character is what? Immaculate. Understand? You doing everything by example. That's why we show by example. Acharya means what? Show by example. You follow? That's the meaning. Then you will also get respect, you will get strength. If simply I sleep and ask you to, Prabhu, you make sure you be here, Mangalarti, and I am sleeping. then how I will get respect? Yes, like the Guru was sleeping, and then Mangalati finished, disciple waked up the Guru.
No, they chant the kirtan softly so that he won't wake up.
So how does this work?
By jet lag.
Huh?
By jet lag.
Jet lag. Huh? You understand? So we have to be very, very careful when we want to correct others. But make sure I am. If you don't have the authority, somebody is senior and you see it is not right, so how to do? So you tell the senior devotees. You understand? And he will try to help. This is all only to help. It is not a question of trying to what? Huh? Beat someone down. No. It's going to make things better.
But what if someone don't want to listen?
Then the problem. That is the problem. You don't want to listen, then the door is wide open. The door is, that's the only way. We have seen so many people. They come so fired up, and then after that, they got some what? Rank. You don't care. And then what is the end result? The door. You can be 30 years, 50 years, 100 years. You don't want to listen. Then what? The door. It goes for everybody, president or GBC or general or whatever. Have to follow the system. Understand? So if you don't want to follow, then how to stay and get training? That means you don't want training anymore. That means you graduated already. Graduated, go where? There. Graduate, go where? There. Not here. That door. Understand? So you think what you want to do? Your choice. As Krishna said, I have spoken, now you act as you please. What you want to do? Understand? That's why we have to learn how to give up the first thing, the false ego. This ahankar thing is very bad quality in making spiritual advancement. You cannot make spiritual advancement with this ahankar. It's not possible. Understand? That's why nama. Why every day nama? What is that nama? What is that nama?
Name.
Your name, nama. What is that? No name. Nama, no name. What is that na? Na means no. Ma means what? Ma means what? Me. No me. Namaha. No. No what? No me, no I. That's why spiritual life there is no me, no I. Material life is me and mine. Material life is me and mine. That's outside the door. Here, namaha, namaste. Why? Why na? Huh? What is that? No more ego. This is the meaning. In case you don't know, this is the meaning of namaha.
The problem is those who have the false ego and don't want to accept. They are the ones who say that those who tell them are the ones who have false ego, and that's why they are.
And how to train the person? If he is fighting back and arguing, how to train?
Follow-up comment by Dr. Unfortunately, many people in position misuse their position and try to dominate, which is why very few live in the temples. They leave mostly because of for this reason. It's just that we should correct carefully if at all possible.
I recommend her to come here and stay and see. That's all I can say. You have many temples. You try this temple. You see how we are. There are so many devotees here. I say, no problem. Yes? You have to accept an authority that you can submit to. Just now you said you must learn how to associate with the advanced devotee. Correct? So you must accept an authority and work with the authority. If you don't want to work with an authority, then you have to go everybody. Yeah, everybody is leaving the temple. That's the problem. Why? Because they don't want to accept an authority. Of course, firstly the authority must be right. That's the main thing. If the authority itself is not following Prabhupada, then what temple is that? Huh? Correct? If the authority in the temple is not following an authority as in Prabhupada, then what is the use? Then nothing will work. Correct? But if the authority is accepting Prabhupada 10%, you have to learn how to follow that authority. Correct? So, you want to argue, then better you do your own thing. That's my recommendation. You understand?
Not argue, it's just, I think maybe some kind of experience you had.
Everybody got bad experience. I also got bad experience. Doesn't mean that the boat is shaking. I mean, you should jump into the water. The boat is shaking. Oh no, boat is shaking. I go into the water better. Is that intelligence? It's a fool. Understand? So you should learn. Be humble. Actually, if you become humble, you overcome many obstacles. That's my experience. Humble up, everything. In challenging, fighting, then problem. Take two hands to clap, is it? Huh? Especially Kali Yuga. I read yesterday. One of the symptoms of Kali Yuga is what? One of the symptoms of irreligion in Kali Yuga, what is it? What is the verse? 12. Press the wrong key. 12.3. 12.3, the symptom of irreligion. Treta Yoga. Yeah, this is the four legs of irreligion, huh? And one of it is quarreling. One of it is quarreling. Understand? 10.3, what? 12.3? Huh? 12.3.18. No, this is.
Yeah, 20,
20, huh? See? The four pillars of irreligion. 1. Lying. 2. Violence. 3. Dissatisfaction. And number 4. So if you want to quarrel, anything you will quarrel. Understand? Anything. Correct? Dangerous path. The path of irreligion. So you accept humbly. And process of religion is this. These four legs of powerful religion are truthfulness, that's now lying, correct? Mercy, austerity, and of course here is charity, but in the other part it is cleanliness. Huh? So try to understand there is a system, we have to follow that. And in this way we will get the blessings of Guru and Krishna, and then you will develop spontaneous love of Krishna. That is the goal. That is the.
You don't develop spontaneous love.
Huh?
You go back to godliness by simply practicing Vaidhi Bhakti.
Yes. Prabhupada said you follow the four principles and chant 16 rounds, you will go back home, back to garden.
But if the quality is very poor,
Well, please try to improve. Before you die, at least, right? Improve yourself. So, and you can do that easily by associating with. Very important, association is so important. Very good question. If the devotee is on the right path, then why all these bad qualities are coming? Because devotees, while their devotional creeper is growing, they are also weeds are also growing. So a devotee must be very careful in pulling out these weeds. And these weeds are like what? Enviness, himsa, kutinati, diplomacy, requiring pratishta, somewhat, some glorification, and what? Labha, want some gain. So when these four weeds are growing, so a devotee must be very expert in knowing how to pull them out. And if he is not expert in knowing the differentiation between the Bhaktilata beech and this creeper, then the weeds will overgrow his devotional creeper and he will die.
Actually, the question is why correct devotee also has to face this. That's what my question.
Yes, because I said the weeds are growing.
No. What he's asking is, like somebody writing about you, right? So many things on the internet and all. So if a person is following everything right, why does he get this kind of thing?
When you are successful, it always breeds envy. That's part and parcel of the game.
So they may say,
Yudhishthira got criticized. You take it, everybody, even Krishna also. So in material world, two things are there. Envy, what is that? What is the two things in material? All living entities? Ichcha, desire and envy or hate. It's all living entities.
but then they may say we are also envious of the success of ISKCON, that's why we are bad mouthing them.
I don't think we are envious of ISKCON. We are not bothered. We don't sit here and talk about them day and night. We don't care. We are going on with our work. When you ask me the question, I explain why you are outside, why you are doing. Then we explain because they are not following. We are not envious. Yeah? We are not bothered. Because a devotee who is making advancement, he is indifferent to all these kind of things. You understand? There's a verse. I think it's this verse, I'm not sure, let me check. A devotee should never engage in fruitive ritual mentioned in the Karma Kanda section of Vedas, nor should he become atheistic or acting and speaking in opposition to Vedic injunction. Similarly, he should never speak like a mere logician or skeptic or take any side whatsoever in useful argument. A saintly person should never let others frighten or disturb him, and similarly should never frighten or disturb other people. He should tolerate the insult of others and should never himself belittle anyone. He should never create hostility with anyone for the sake of material body, for thus he be no better than an animal. So this is the mood of the devotee. Which purport? Huh? Where in the purport? Which paragraph? These are all the offenses. Huh? 3. 8. Offense by one or the feet of a pure devotee may be likened to a mad elephant who devastates a very good garden if he enters. 2. He must be careful to guard himself against such offense at the feet of pure devotee. Just as one protects the creeper all round fencing, it so happens that by watering process some weeds are also grown, and unless such weeds are uprooted, the nurturing of the main creeper or the creeper of Bhakti Yoga may be hampered. Actually, these weeds are material enjoyment, merging of the self in the absolute without separate individuality, and many other desires in the field of religion, economic development, sense gratification and emancipation. There are many other weeds like disobedient to the tenets of the revered scriptures, unnecessary engagement, killing animals and anchoring of the material gain, prestige and adoration. If sufficient care is not taken, then the watering process may only help to breed the weeds, stunting the healthy growth of the main creeper and resulting in no pure fructification, the ultimate requirement, love of God. Devotee must therefore be very careful to uproot the different weeds in the very beginning. Only then will the healthy growth of the main creeper not be shunted. And so by so doing, the devotee is able to relish the fruit of love of God and thus is practical and live practically with Lord Krishna even in his life, and you are able to see the Lord in every step. Usually the devotee does not know, a neophyte devotee does not know the difference between the weeds and the creeper. That's why he needs the help of a spiritual master or advanced devotees to tell. You understand? So he knows, oh, this is not good, I shouldn't do this. Alright, 10 o'clock and no more, huh? Finish. Some more? Who question?
Bhagavad Gita also it is said that 252 that devotee should not be different to what is to be had and what is here. 252 Bhagavad Gita it says that devotees, non-devotee, they are not bothered about what is to be here.
All that is heard and all that is to said. But it's also there in this verse, you know. I think it's here, or maybe 40. I think it's 40.
Yeah, 40.
40. This verse is very clear, you know. When a person realizes you, he no longer cares about his good and bad fortune arising from past pious or sinful acts, since it is you alone who control this good and bad fortune. Such a realized devotee also disregard what ordinary living beings say about him. They direct, this is it. Every day he feels is here with your glories, which are recited in each age by unbroken succession of Manu's descendant, and thus you become his ultimate salvation. So he doesn't care, you know, he doesn't bother. Ordinary people talking.
It is the devotees who are talking about.
So devotees who are talking like this, they are no better than an ass.
So when should we bother about when they are saying and when should we not?
When someone is blaspheming a devotee, I should be bothered. But the one who gets blasphemed, he should not bother.
But what if it's not blasphemy and it is correction? And
Nothing.
then if somebody is trying to correct me and I say, I don't bother me. So
No, when he is trying to correct, of course you have to see whether the correction is really, you know, valid. You know, if it is valid, why I shouldn't accept? If he's saying something, it is right, I should accept. That should be my humility. Correct? If he says, hey, why are you, sleeping in front of the deity? I shouldn't sleep. Yes? No? So, something is right, I should accept. But if something is not right, I mean, imaginary, like what is his name? Ramachandra Puri. He was making imaginary faults against Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ants are coming in, you must be eating a lot of sweets.
But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted that.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is God, no.
So he's teaching us how to behave when somebody is criticized.
No,
He
but
never really-
even though he accepted some part, he didn't care about him also. There's a verse. Sometimes you will accept, sometimes you will just ignore him. So the both sides is also there. So you have to use your intelligence.
Actually,
Yes.
Narottama Das also.
Huh?
Narottama Das Thakur, he was getting criticized so much by the Brahmins because he was not born Brahmin. So they did a lot of propaganda against him to disrespect and humiliate him.
I cannot hear very clearly.
Saying Narottama Das Thakur story also, he got so much of humiliation.
He was not born Brahmin family, no?
Yeah.
He was initiating Brahmins.
Yeah.
He got criticized.
Yeah, attacking.
Of course, that thing is no more here now. Who is Brahmin? All guys, the Brahmin eating meat? What?
What I mean is he got a lot of public humiliation.
Huh?
He had a lot of public humiliation also.
Public?
Humiliation.
Huh?
Humiliation.
Humiliated. He got humiliated.
Like a lot of challenges, criticism and challenges.
A lot of what?
Many people criticize him.
I mean, pure devotee, you know, whatever you criticize, it doesn't work on him, is it?
No, because he was saying why the devotee is getting, even Narottama Das was getting it.
Yes.
So what is
So many people, even Krishna also got criticized. Yeah? Krishna got criticized. What to speak about you and me? Especially with the invention of Facebook. Facebook means criticism. Somebody in the Facebook glorifying you, something wrong. It's not Facebook then. It's something else. So we have to learn how to accept it. And of course, we have to know when to take what action. That we have to use our intelligence, you know. Yeah? Good point. Narottama Das Thakur. Alright, it's getting late. Breakfast now? So we can go on. I've got at least another class in 15 minutes.
one more question?
Yeah.
So whenever you're showing the 64 things, it's also there in the Nectar of Devotion chapter 6. So which one was written first? The CC or the
Huh?
which one was written first? The Bhakti Rasa Vitasindhu?
Usually you will not read the CC. So you read the Nectar of Devotion.
Because it's also there. So who wrote it first? Then Rupa Goswami wrote the 64 things.
No, it's, these things are because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking to Sanatana Goswami.
So this is first.
Then they wrote those scriptures based on these. Of course, the Chaitanya Charitamrita was then written after that, after the Bhakti Rasamrita. But the thing that is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita happened before.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is talking to, I think, Rupa Sanatana Goswami.
Here it's Sanatana.
What to write, you know, in the book. You have to explain how deity worship, all these things he was giving the, and then he was talking about Raganuga Bhakti, and all these things for them to take notes to write the, because Sanatana Goswami wrote the Hari Bhakti Vilas, also got rules and regulations. In fact, that one is impossible to follow. That's why we are not talking about it. If you take Hari Bhakti Vilas, you won't sit here. Understand? It's very, very smarta, you know, mixed.
So they are also the collection of important verses.
Huh?
They are also collection of important verses. They collected important verses from the
They back up it with a lot of scriptural evidence, you know. They're not just simply saying. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here is summarized only, but in the book they're quoting, you know, where he says, what he says. In fact, when Guru, how you should reject, I quoted 2 verses from the Hari Bhakti Vilas, correct? Remember? Why you should reject, how you should reject, quoted. Everything is a quotation. They don't just speak out of the. Yes, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, some part Rupa Goswami is explaining certain things beyond this material world. That one, I don't know if he's where, I must see the original. He may have a version, I don't know. I never read the original Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Always verses there. I have not seen, I have not read the book. Prabhupada summarized for our, quick reading and advancement. Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry for boring you with a lot of rules. I hope you will take a note of this and practice it seriously. Alright, thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.